This has been sitting in the freezer for To make this delicious looking low-fat tiramisu truffle, we're gonna need a 1/4 cup of almond flour. Did you guys know that a 1/4 cup of almond flour has 15 grams of fat? You don't believe me? Let's ask Google. Hey Google, how many grams of fat is there in a 1/4 cup of almond flour?
On the website webmd.com, they say a 1/4 cup serving of almond flour contains calories 180, protein 7 grams, fat 15 grams.
You see? You see 15 grams. You believe me now? It's just 1/4 cup. This one has 1.5 cups of almond flour. Like this cannot compute, right? I mean, you're with me on that one, right? Okay, moving on from that drama, we're gonna need a 1/4 cup of almond flour, a 1/4 cup of sweetener, a pinch of salt, 4 ounces of fat-free yogurt, and the most important thing, of course, coffee. Mix it all up and cover it with a plastic wrap and freeze it for about 30 minutes because we need this to become hard enough to be shapeable, but also soft enough to be moldable, if you guys know what I mean. Anyways, in the meantime, we can prepare the inner layer of the truffle. We'll need 2 tablespoons of fat-free yogurt for that, 1.5 ounces of cocoa, 2 tablespoons of sweetener, half a teaspoon of vanilla extract, and mix it all up. And if you're trying this for the first time, like I was, you'll discover that cocoa is a huge moisture absorbent, have a little panic attack, and decide to add almond milk instead. Thankfully, 4 tablespoons of almond milk took care of it, and voila, the mixture has the right texture, moldable enough to become a truffle. Okay, so half an hour have passed, so I take out the outer mixtures from the freezer to try and shape it. It turns out to be a disaster of a mess. Definitely not gonna be shapeable, so I popped it back into the freezer for about 30 minutes and tried again. Nope, didn't work either. Then I remembered that cocoa absorbs moisture, so I figured better sacrifice the aesthetic of the layers and save the bloody truffle. So I added 1 tablespoon of cocoa, and that fixed the textures. Okay, time to roll those truffles. We need the outer layer to shape into a disc, so in order to do that, we can mold it into a ball, flatten it, and then we can add a little bit of the inner layer. Then we roll it all up into a big ball, but make sure not to drop it into the outer layer mixture like I have. Eventually this will make about 5 truffles. We're gonna need to freeze those for about 30 minutes because we want it to retain its form. If you don't freeze it, it will not retain its form. If you refrigerate it, it will not retain its form either. So freezing is the way to go. In the end, if you want to give it a facelift, you can use some cocoa powder to dust it with. When you're done rolling the tiramisu truffle, you'll notice that you're left with a lot of the inner layer mixture. So why not roll them into balls themselves and make them into coconut truffles if you want to keep it PSMF, or you can roll them into almond flour if you'd rather have a keto version of it. Just make sure to refrigerate it until it's time for you to enjoy it either by yourself or with some of your friends.